Good evening. My slideshow is really about Yestermorrow class that I have the pleasure of teaching here with Eric Stauffer. I've been teaching it for the past 3 years. It's actually in reverse order. So we'll start backwards. It is a brainchild of Eric, and well, I'll start backwards. So at the end, it's really exciting. Like we've all kind of built up, and it's like after a whole week of mayhem, we take a lot of photographs, and people have really worked through a lot of different ideas. So this is all off the cuff here. So the class is called Small Scale Design Build. So people get to come in. We go from 0 to 100 in 7 days. 10 to 16 hours a day. People show up Sunday night. We start right in with slideshows of all sorts of different ideas about different things that exist in the world. And their idea is to build a project in the time that they're there. So they spend the time designing. They draw out all their different ideas of their idea, whether it's a chair, whether it's a table, whether it's a bookshelf, whether it's a bed, whether it's a display for your, who knows what. And so there's all these crazy ideas that come in. And so people come in with zero skills from the beginning and dive right in. And so this is a process of that chair that was all those drawings that were happening. And this woman started off with these crazy little, glass clawfoot, who knows what. And I think she only cried twice in the class. And those little clawfoot things never made it on. But it was a really beautiful chair that ended up at the end of the day. So it's really this amazing process of where you start with an idea, and after a week and working in the shop and things not working out and having to learn all about all the new materials, we take everybody to the lumber yard and show them all the different stuff that exists, and then teach them how to four-square board and work all the new tools and how to kind of be in the shop because they've never been in the shop before. And we tell them, you can build anything. Go for it. Draw it. We'll figure it out. And so this is actually a table that Dan, which is probably in the room somewhere. Where are you, Dan?
Over here.
Right over here with it. This is Dan's table. Dan has taken this class 2 times that I know of. And this is his finished table. It's a class that it's all solid cherry, and he had to figure it all out. And he spent a lot of time. He had this great long roll. He had probably 13 different kind of shapes of this thing, just on a roll of trace, all kind of falling off the table. It was great. And then Serena, are you here? Yo. So this is also in process. This is a, believe it or not, but a rocking chair. And you'll see it in finish. This is her version of taking one sheet of plywood and turning it into a rocking chair that you could lay down in. It was kind of a lounge rocker. There it is. It was pretty cool. Pretty cool. So one of my favorite things about Yestermorrow is teaching here, because it was really exciting to take people in the shop that have never been there before and just their eyes light up when they realize that they can build something and they can do something. And they spend all this time with a piece of paper and scratching out their head and just trusting that we'll figure it out. And it may be 10 o'clock at night, and it may be a little kind of like, oh, I don't know, we may have screwed something up, but it all comes out in the end, and it's really this amazing, powerful moment of everybody kind of towards the end saying, holy smokes, I came in here with this piece of paper, I made all this sawdust. I didn't know the router slipped, I didn't even know what a router was, I didn't know what a template was, I didn't know any of this. But, I end up with these really amazing modular shelves that all slip together that, I just kind of thought of after a while and trusted in myself to build, and that's what they got. All these shelves kind of crisscross and flop together in different ways, stack inside each other, kind of sit flat. They're, you can make any kind of semblance of it that you want for whatever fits your space if you're in transition. And these back pieces slide in so that when you go to move, you can stick all your books in them, and they're kind of like a milk crate. This guy was, this is a bookshelf. It looks kind of like a bridge. It's all the suspension cables and all this stuff that's going on. And it was definitely a lot of math of trying to figure out where all the cables were going to go and how all this was going to come through and how the cables were going to fit. And then, how are we going to get this thing to China? That's where this guy was living. So, I don't know that we succeeded in that, but it all packs flat. So all this stuff comes apart and it all packs into one little box and ships flat.
We got it to Wisconsin.
You did. You got it to Wisconsin. Well, that's a start. Might be the right direction. So this was another. This is amazing. This is, you can kind of see all these drawings. There's some grass over here. I'll explain that a little bit more. And there's some things that kind of lift up over here. A little more grass, a little more lifty going on. This was a table that this kid wanted to build, and so this is his table. And so he wanted to grow wheatgrass in this portion of his table, and so. But he also wanted it to kind of be a surprise. Like, in here goes your book that you're reading. It tucks right in, but it's the right size that it matches up with these offcuts of plywood, so that it, it all kind of works out. But then there's a drawer, and then there's, this on the top, and then out of here is where the lamp is supposed to come out, so you can grow your wheatgrass. So no holds barred. Like, all ideas are on the table, and we're committed to trying to figure out how to make it happen. And it's a real pleasure being in the shop and just kind of thinking it through. This is the beginning of a coffee, well, nearly assembled coffee table. Again, a one sheet of plywood idea. The idea is to take one sheet of plywood, and what can you build out of one sheet of plywood? Cut it out into as many little pieces as possible, and what's going to turn out. And so this is just before assembly of this table. And as I was trying to say, this is a class that I didn't have the pleasure of starting out with, but it's Andy Schlatter, who is an intern here a long time ago, and Ira Stauffer, who just, as you saw, these beautiful tree houses, have the pleasure of teaching that class with. And so it's evolved over a while. And this is another coffee table, and this was all kind of pressed. Had to build a whole little form and figure out how to squish that plywood and glue it all together so that it maintained that shape for the class. But it's really exciting, the designs that students come up with and their ideas, and it's now Aaron Westgate's turn.